Hey everybody, hope you guys are all doing well today. In this video, we're going to go over the SYNTHETIX network token. This is the outline. These are the topics that we're going to cover. I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible for you guys. And there's actually one topic I omitted from the title of the video and the outline. It's a hack that very few people know about that you could use to make some serious money on the platform. So if you're interested in that tip and you want to know what it is, I highly recommend that you guys watch this video in its entirety. And if you're a big fan of crypto-based finance like I am, whether that's DeFi or if it's centralized finance, this is the channel for you. That tends to be the focus of most of my videos. And for all you crypto finance fans out there, subscribe to my channel, click that notification bell. If you have any questions throughout the video, make sure you guys comment down below. But in my opinion, the best forum for asking questions is my Discord channel. If you want access to that channel, follow me on Twitter, send me a direct message, and I'll respond with a link giving you full access to my Discord channel. And if at any time you find yourself enjoying the video, do me a huge favor and smack that like button. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into this video. All right, let's go ahead and begin by talking about what this platform offers to its users. The SYNTHETIX exchange is a decentralized asset insurance protocol that's built on top of Ethereum. All the assets that you guys see here in this column are collateralized by the SYNTHETIX network token, SNX, meaning all the assets that are available and supported on this platform, their values are all sourced from the SYNTHETIX token. And all the assets that are issued on the platform are often referred to as synths. But to distill this platform and what it does in two words, I would call these programmable derivatives. So what you see in the legacy world with derivatives, this platform does in a decentralized manner without the need for a third party. And because these synths are basically derivatives, you don't need an order book. And because you don't need an order book when you do exchanges, there's obviously less slippage relative to a decentralized exchange. So in my view, that's one big advantage of using a platform like this, because it solves the liquidity and slippage issues that's experienced by these decentralized exchanges. And the other benefit is that in theory, you could issue any asset, even legacy assets like commodities, stocks, bonds. And if you look here in this column, you can see that in addition to the cryptocurrency synths that they support, they also support various fiat synths and gold and silver. And they also have these index funds. For example, this is a DeFi index fund that gives you exposure to a variety of DeFi related protocols. This is a centralized exchange index that gives you exposure to tokens like Binance, KuCoin, and a few others. And I understand this can seem somewhat overwhelming and confusing, but if you followed me until this point, you can see the huge potential and advantage of using a platform like this. Because now you can easily get exposure to almost an infinite amount of assets out there. And guess what? I didn't do any sort of KYC to access the services on this platform. And not only that, but you could come up with a wide variety of products to support on the platform. For example, you could make a hybrid portfolio that mixes cryptocurrencies, commodities, and equities, and maybe even put some bonds in the portfolio to diminish some of the volatility. Now, even though this all sounds great, there are some downsides. Number one, it relies heavily on price feeds. If anything happens to their price feed source, the exchange could be shut down, and that's actually happened in the past. And I think with this platform, like many other DeFi platforms out there, they're going to end up using Link's price feed oracle. By the way, guys, on a side note, it's part of the reason why I'm very bullish on Link myself, because I think all these DeFi platforms and many other platforms will inevitably end up using Link's price feed oracle. But until that materializes, I think that's a big single point of failure for the platform. And that's something that they'll just have to deal with as they iterate and move forward with the project. And another issue or grievance I have with the platform is just based on the inherent design, and I don't think they can do very much about. And I'm referring to their pooled debt model. And to illustrate why I'm not a big fan of it and why I'm hesitant to actually use the platform, I'm going to go ahead and read from this example that's provided in their white paper. Imagine Medio and Yan both start with 50K SUSD. Combined, this equates to a total of network debt of 100K, with Medio and Yan responsible for 50% of it. Just to make sure I didn't lose you guys, this SUSD that I'm talking about, that's basically the synth that gets issued to you when you put up your SYNTHETIX token as collateral. So in this example, they both would have to put up $375,000 worth of SYNTHETIX token to get issued $50,000 worth of synths. So let's say both these gentlemen get issued $50,000 apiece. Let's say Medio on the left decides to purchase a synthetic Bitcoin with his $50,000, and Yan decides to hold $50,000 on the platform. And let's say the price of Bitcoin goes up 50%. This means Medio's position is now worth $75,000. That's a profit of $25,000. And because the network debt is pooled, this increases the total network debt to $125,000. You're only responsible for a portion of it. And that percentage that you're responsible for is determined by the total debt that you issued by issuing synths divided by the total value of the network debt. In this example, they're both responsible for 50% of the total network debt, and that's because $100,000 worth of debt was issued, and they both contributed $50,000 apiece. So that equals 50%. And as long as the two don't make any purchases, they just keep it in SUSD, they both can redeem their SYNTHETIX tokens by burning their 50,000 SUSD. But in this example, Medio decided to use his SUSD to buy Bitcoin. And because he made 25K in profit, it increased the total debt issued from 100K to 125K. And because each of them is still responsible for half of that, that means they now owe $62,500 a piece. For Medio, it's not so much of a problem because he bought Bitcoin that appreciated in price. So his debt owed is $62,500, but the value of his synthetic Bitcoin is $75,000. On the other hand, Yan didn't buy any Bitcoin, and his debt owed increased to $62,500 as well. So let's say at this point, Medio decided that he's had enough. He used the platform for the purpose he wanted to use it, and now he's going to hightail it out of here. After he resolves the debt owed, he leaves the platform $12,500 richer. But let's say Yan wanted to do the same thing. Yan would have to first resolve his debt before removing any of his funds off the platform. And with the platform growing, assuming that they get a lot of adoption and usage, these numbers would get a lot smaller. But imagine if a whale came in and decided to open a massive trade that ended up netting him or her massive profits. Even if you didn't do a single trade on the platform, you could potentially end up losing some money, at least in the short term. Now, in terms of my outlook for the token, when I first learned about the project, I was very bullish. And let me go ahead and outline for you why I was so bullish. Number one, out of all the tokens out there, I felt like in terms of the tokens, a correlation between price and adoption and a usage of the platform, I felt like the NX token was the most tightly correlated token in that respect, because to use the platform, you had to buy the token. To get exposure to a synth, you would be issued SUSD. And you can see in the white paper, it clearly states that it has to be backed by 750% collateralization ratio, meaning that if you want to trade $100 worth of synths on the platform, you have to put up $750 worth of SYNTHETIX token. And what that means is that people have to buy the SYNTHETIX token to use the platform. And on top of that, that removes the float off the exchanges. Unlike these other tokens that are kept in wallets or even left on the exchanges, this token has to be locked up into a protocol. So that clearly will remove some supply off the market. That in itself will produce some upward price action. And again, it's going to be correlated to the usage of the platform, because people who want to use the platform have to buy the SYNTHETIX token as their ticket in. Secondly, they incentivize token holders to actually hold the token. They did this by giving them all the fees generated by the platform. So when you go trade on the platform, the fee that you get paid gets distributed to all these SYNTHETIX token holders. And that fee is typically around 0.3%. And so by holding the token and participating in putting up the collateral, you're rewarded on a weekly basis with these fees that they generate. Lastly, all of this really forces users to become knowledgeable about the platform. And as they become more knowledgeable, in theory, it should augment engagement. And so when I first heard about the token and I did some of my preliminary research, I was very bullish. But recently that's changed. For one, they just made ETH as a collateral option. Its collateralization ratio is different. It's 150% with a minting fee of 0.5%. So what that means is that if you want to use the platform, you no longer have to buy the SNX token. You can just use Ethereum. In this article and in some other articles, they make the argument that this won't dilute the utility of the SYNTHETIX token or the demand for the SYNTHETIX token. I'm not entirely convinced. One of the arguments they make, for example, is that the fees that these people pay, because when they lock up their ETH, they're actually paying 5% plus they're paying a minting fee. And all those fees are given to the SYNTHETIX token holders who are staking their tokens as collateral. Again, the claim is that the incentives for the SYNTHETIX token holders are so robust that it'll continue to generate a demand for the token. But nonetheless, it still diminishes some of the original bullishness I had for the token. And the other reason my bullishness waned a little bit was because what I saw on the Aave protocol. When I was doing the review for the platform, I noticed that every 7 days, the utilization rate would go up, and therefore, if you were a depositor of SYNTHETIX token, the rate you would earn for depositing that token would go up as well. I mean, at times you could earn 90% for the SYNTHETIX tokens that you had deposited on the platform. And so I did some digging and I realized when it comes to issuing rewards for staking your tokens, as I mentioned, those rewards are distributed on a weekly basis. And the way they determine how much you're eligible for is by taking a snapshot. That snapshot is taken every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Australian time. So what that means is you could put them in a couple hours before they take the snapshot, a couple hours after they take the snapshot, and you would be eligible for the same reward that the other token holders got who held their tokens in there for weeks and months. So using the Aave protocol, some smart and savvy people took advantage of that. On this platform, you can actually put up ETH as collateral and borrow the SNX token. And that's the reason why you see the utilization and the rates go up so much every 7 days. Because what they do is they'll buy it, they'll lock it. Once the snapshot has been taken, they'll remove their tokens off the platform and return them to the Aave protocol. And to illustrate how much you can make by doing this, let's say someone borrowed 40,000 SYNTHETIX tokens. And every 7 days, they did the same thing. They put up ETH as collateral to borrow the token, and they put the token into the SYNTHETIX protocol to get that weekly distribution. If they did that every week for 4 weeks, they would net, based on the current price of the token and the current volume, they would net $1,500. So if you're an ETH holder out there and you want to take advantage of this loophole, here's a quick hack for you. This platform is called BitTrue. They have a lending feature called the Power Piggy, which allows you to deposit ETH and earn interest on it. So currently they're offering 6.3% on Ethereum. So what you could do is you could keep your Ethereum on the platform. Unlike other platforms, BitTrue gives daily distributions for the yield. So you can lock your ETH here, get 6.3%, then go to Aave a few hours before the snapshot is taken on the SYNTHETIX protocol. And here you can deposit your ETH as collateral, take out a loan via SYNTHETIX token, take those SYNTHETIX tokens and lock them up into the SYNTHETIX protocol. Once the snapshot takes place, you take your SYNTHETIX tokens out, go back to Aave so you can take your ETH back. You take your ETH back and you put it onto the BitTrue platform. And assuming that there isn't too much volatility, I mean, you can rake in a lot of dough doing that. And I bet you every single time this spike happened, that's what those people did. They took advantage of that loophole and probably made a decent chunk of change. Just note that if you do this, it's not like you can take that money out right away. All the rewards that you earn by staking the SYNTHETIX token, they're put into escrow for a year. So let's say you made out with $1,500 in your first month. You wouldn't be able to withdraw those funds until they were held in escrow for at least a year. And because of this hack and this vulnerability, I'm less bullish on the token for that reason as well. And lastly, as I mentioned, that whole debt pool model with the current amount of usage that they have and the fact that a whale could come in and completely disrupt that equilibrium that they've established makes me very hesitant to buy the token and actually stake it as collateral on the platform altogether. And for those three reasons, my bullishness has been somewhat tempered for the token. I'm not as enthusiastic about buying it on this current pullback, but you have to understand a lot of this stuff is experimental. I think in the long run, what these people are doing is very innovative and it has a good chance of succeeding. And I wouldn't be surprised if this token makes a pretty good run in the next bull market. Now, after hearing all that, let's say you're still optimistic about the project, you still want to buy it. Maybe you don't want to put it into the SYNTHETIX protocol as collateral. Maybe you just want to earn an interest on it on the Aave protocol. So to do that, you normally would have to, let's say, take your TUSD on your ledger, go to a DEX, make the exchange on the DEX. Once you get the SYNTHETIX token, you take that to the Aave protocol and you lock it up. And that would make you eligible to accrue interest on your SYNTHETIX token. To do that with one click, you come to this platform. It's a DEX aggregator. If you want a link to it, I'll include a link in the description below for you. And by the way, before you come to this platform, you want to load your ledger or the device that you use with one of the USD-based stablecoins. They support USDC, USDT, but let's say you have TUSD in your wallet. You select it here on the left. In this box, you type in the number of TUSD that you would like converted. On this side, you can either pick SNX as just the token itself. So if you made this exchange, you would end up with 1,193 SYNTHETIX tokens in your ledger. But if you pick a SNX, what that does is it'll first switch your TUSD to SNX, then it will take the SNX and it will put it into the Aave protocol and give you the SNX token. And this is very similar to CDAI. So what happens is you basically give up your SYNTHETIX token to the protocol, and in return you get this redemption token, SNX. And you can keep that token in your wallet, you can send it somewhere. And this is the token that gets burned when you want to redeem your SYNTHETIX token from the Aave protocol. And if you're still confused after that explanation, I recommend you click the upper right hand corner of your screen and watch my video on Aave, where I give a more thorough explanation. Not only does this work with the Aave protocol, but it also works with the Compound protocol. So if you wanted, you can convert this TUSD into the DAI equivalent, and it gets converted and put into the Compound protocol, automatically earning you a yield. This way you can skip a few steps and stick to using one user interface versus using a handful of them. So again, what's going to happen now is that this TUSD is going to be converted to the SYNTHETIX token. That SYNTHETIX token is then going to be locked into the Aave protocol. And once that SYNTHETIX token is deposited into the protocol, you'll be issued SNX into your Ledger wallet. So when you open your Ledger wallet, this is the token that's going to be in there. And while your SYNTHETIX tokens are locked into the Aave protocol, you'll be earning a yield. So if you look on the platform, the current yield is 3.48%. But every time there's a spike, you'll see this rate jump. And I've seen this rate at times jump up to 90%. Just remember, these jumps are acute. They only last for a day. So for one day out of the week, you'll be earning close to 90% interest on your SYNTHETIX token for a very brief moment. Well, that pretty much wraps up the video. I know that was a mouthful. Don't feel ashamed if you guys didn't understand some of it. You might have to watch this video a couple times before you actually get a good, strong grasp on it. In fact, if you don't understand what's going on, I strongly recommend that you guys comment down below. I'll do my best to respond in a promptly manner and address all the questions you guys might have after watching this video. In my opinion, a better medium would be my Discord. Again, you can access that by following me on Twitter, sending me a direct message requesting for access. On that channel, we have a bunch of DeFi fanboys, people who are into centralized finance. I mean, overall, my channel is very diverse. I've assembled a very tight-knit community of like-minded individuals. So if that's a community you want to be part of, I welcome you guys to join my Discord channel. And if you like this video format, you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, click that notification bell, and show your support by smacking that like button. With that being said, this is CryptoOneStop signing out. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.